Alright. Racing Kings World Championship finally getting back on track. We have the lower bracket. This is one of the two finals. It's technically the second one. We have CyberShredder and R2300 playing. CyberShredder has taken the first two games already, which we might be able to check out if we get a break. But this is game 3 with R2300 with the white pieces. He plays King G3, and then King B3 is played. Knight C3, King takes C3, Knight takes C2, Queen A4, Knight E1. Now this is all theory, even Rook B4 is just odd line to choose. Not okay. Knight D3 and then Rook to D4. Knight placed on D3 is a little bit awkward, but so obviously King C4 is a threat, and it doesn't necessarily have a good square to go to. Sure, it can take the bishop. And then the rook is actually on a bad square right now. I wonder if simply rook to E4 was better. But instead opts for knight to C5 hitting the queen, but the knight is further detached, and no check rook prevents the queen from being taken. Bishop just attacks the knight, hitting it off. Maybe we're going to see knight E6, and not sure where the rook's going to go. Rook D6 maybe here. I assume just knight G5, the knight's just hopping around. Knight would be badly placed then, though, blocking the rooks. Might just be better to find an alternative. I mean, you can return, and then the bishop, if the bishop takes, then the bishop can take back, and the king could not advance. I'm sure that was an option, but this rook also protected from no check rule. I assume something like knight takes f2 wouldn't be too terrible at this point. And then after takes back, I could assume bishop c5, but no, instead just continues to attack the knight. I'm not sure why they're so fixated on this knight, both of them. It's a little bit awkward. Alright. And then the knight comes here to attack this knight. Maybe we're going to see a trade of knights finally. Maybe again just knight takes f2 with the bishop c5. I mean, this is all fine now. After rook takes, you still have that. But now king takes is available. And then you're just equal material but down a rank. So black should just be straight up winning. Rook g5 is not going to be able to hold on at all. Here, you have here. After this, oh, I guess not because of the bishop, but here. Just bishop c5 now. No bishop c5 winning material. But there's bishop d3 at some point. Because bishop d3 offers a double attack, because if you take the bishop, then you just take the rook here. But if you take the rook, then it's just a trade, and your bishop's on a better diagonal. But now he has king to d5. But Bishop g2. Okay, rook takes g1, I guess. I don't know. It looks completely lost for white already. But that bishop g2 was a possibility, but not there anymore. And bishop d3 doesn't accomplish anything at this point. Maybe bishop e2, though, hitting the rook while it's protected, and then maneuvering the bishop to f3, so you at least get this diagonal hitting the queen. But instead allows this diagonal, now your bishop's kind of useless. Bishop h3 doesn't seem to accomplish anything. It's EVZ endgame for black. So CyberShredder is going to take game 3. It'll be 3-0. Never updated the score from the last series. It's 2-0 now. Alright, king to d6. Queen comes up, and then free rook. And, I mean, they're just resign at this point. Oh, let's just time run out. Okay, 3-0. And we're heading into game 4. I'm surprised no break called. Maybe 4-0 break called, if it happens. And then bishop d4. King b3, king g3, and bishop b4. So just transposes into bishop symmetry. Not sure CyberShredder what he has planned. Maybe king e5. He just seems to push his king to the center. Most of his lines. He's gonna take. Okay, he plays. Okay, so he plays it. One that has been played more recently. And bishop takes d3. Only two good moves there. Bishop takes and king takes. So knight d4 pins the bishop, allowing rook to g6 almost immediately if you wanted it to. And it takes, obviously. The queen's attacked. Rook b6 is an option here, I think. Knight just takes the bishop. And the knight from d4 will hop to e6. You will get this. There is no knight to e4 here anymore. Rooks are great line of queens. Got some development to happen. It looks comfortable for white. That move makes it look a little uncomfortable for black. Building just a red carpet for the king. But, oh, that's actually a clever move that I didn't see there. Cutting off the king advance. Maybe just rook g7 for white and you deal with this later. Because this is now double protected. And yeah, you can't advance here, so you have to move the queen to this side eventually. Maybe just queen to c6 hitting the queen on h1. And then maybe even something like queen h4 at that point, just hitting the rook subtly. Instead opts for queen b7. I wonder, can white just simply play king to d6 here? Slide the rook over. I don't think you can cover both of these squares. Shredder's rook to f7. Queen h3. I assume the point is to hit this bishop if king a6 isn't played. Possibly also to sack the queen on f5. Black maybe just advances. King to b6, king to a7. And it shouldn't be too difficult to figure out something. You even have bishop a3 with the rook and bishop coordinating on the 8th rank at the moment. Potentially some bishop h7 ideas if this queen doesn't come to f5 or take the bishop. But just king b6 played. I wonder if he's just going to play queen f5 here then. Because queen f5 would have stopped the rook f8 idea with bishop a3 after king j7. Alternatively, I guess he did have an extra move, so you could take and then come back here. And then he does just opt to go king d6 now. I don't know where he plans to put his queen, because he kind of cuts it off from any connection here. And the diagonals don't really help it out. And rook to c7 maybe? Because I guess this does solve that coordination problem. Okay, it just goes here. And rook f7, okay, and then the queen comes, attacks the rook. The rook basically has no squares. I guess CyberShredder had this all figured out. And the rook's gonna fall. This holds for a little bit. Oh, and that queen cannot move. And yeah, just take. And no matter which way you take, white can take back. 4-0 in CyberShredder's favor. Very one-sided. I know that Avi has struggled against CyberShredder in the past, but yeah, this is very one-sided. Knight takes c2, king g3, and knight c3. He's going for knight c3 stuff against CyberShredder. But the way that he's been playing them is very passive. It's very it's just he's following the computer lines, and then he kind of just gets lost along the way. For at least the other game that I saw with white for Avi. I don't know if this is a move. I don't think so. Oh, it was black moves anyway. King takes f2. I mean, this already looks just defensive for white and conceding, and it's not really obvious playstyle. I'm not sure why. Okay, so they just keep mirroring. It's just a knight for a rook at this point, and it's a very interesting position. And I'm not sure what rook c2 was there. I feel like rook c2 was a blunder. But we have rook 1 to g3, and white looks very comfortable now, because black just seemingly gave up a rook for no reason. Good news is you have this knight available to move, so you can open up this diagonal at some point. If you just manage to stop king to e3 for now, which is what happens. We do have knight takes f1 at some point, and that can also hit the rook. And I don't think he'd want to come back. Bishop h3, opening a discovered attack opportunity. I mean, I'm sure he wants to get his knight involved, but knight to c4 just seems very conceding. As the knight maybe comes to e5, but then it's just easily dealt with, and you're gonna win a piece in some manner. That knight's just gonna get flung around, not gonna be very helpful. Knight to f1 would have been nice, but the bishop moved. Alright, discovered attack immediately. Just trades the rooks, and now we're back to basically equal material on. Yeah, I'm not sure what the whole plan was there because of um yeah, I mean, I'm even still half asleep, and that just seems like the players are playing like they're half asleep. And, that was just, I don't even know what this move is. I mean, like, you could have played the rook to like anywhere else, and you would have been fine, and you just gave up a piece for no reason. And now your queen's here, but the bishop, it's on that bishop diagonal. I figured it was gonna get played because of it, but wow. And yeah, your bishop has nowhere to go on this diagonal. Maybe you just swing it to g2. Um, Black, you want to get this knight involved, but the bishop, that's the only reason why it's here, because of f5. You want to maneuver your knight maybe there. Okay, maybe you just bring the knight back and then actually do this maneuver. So king can advance. Nope. Allows the king to advance while the queen is safe. Not too sure about that. Alright, the knight comes to this side. Maybe you just play the bishop here. No, it allows the king to advance further. Not even low on time yet. Not sure here. Gets a fork. And then yeah, this bishop and queen should be able to carry out the endgame pretty easily. I'm not even sure why the game has been like this. So it's a little bit trickier here. You're gonna want to come here first. No. Or you gotta block off this, and then the king's gonna come here. I'm surprised he didn't do something like that. Because now his king and queen are coordinated. You allow that, you automatically get 2 ranks. You could just advance there, to be honest, and then oh wait, never mind. You couldn't advance because the queen came to the right square. Bishop's obviously idea is gonna come here. Okay, and CyberShredder will go 5-0, and they're going just straight into game 6. Um, King G3, rook H2 line for CyberShredder. Going into the more aggressive line with black. It's not exactly the easiest line to play, but it is a very complicated line. I'm pretty sure rook G6 is just the move here. I'm sure there's other options, but yeah, just rook G6. Between bishop takes and knight takes. Uh, well, knight obviously can't take, but between bishop takes and then yeah, that's the move. The knight coming here. I think bishop takes is just more comfortable, but it does allow king to f4 immediately. The knight coming here just hits the queen and complicates the position, but I'm pretty sure just queen to c6 here, pinning the knight, not allowing the king to advance. Because if the rook opens up, the queen's just gonna come here, and then you don't get a free queen. Bishop takes now. King advance with probably idea of bishop g2. These knights are being very aggressive today. But very good coordination for Avi. Queen's kind of awkwardly placed now. Hasn't moved his major pieces until move 9. Crazy line to think about is that all of the king and minor pieces have been moved by black up until move 9. And this is very comfortable for black in my opinion. CyberShredder's opening choices against Avi have been interesting. So I guess Avi probably did prep these lines, because they seem to be getting an advantage against CyberShredder, but he just has not been playing very well in the mid game or end game, and his time management has just been completely atrocious. There's a very subtle threat here that's developing, and I'm sure Avi is aware of it, but it's a very common mistake in these lines to move this rook off of the b file, and then the queen will just take that free rook. All 4 knights in the center. Not very common you see that. King will just drop to take that. Um, and the 2 knights are traded off. Yeah, rook to b5. You honestly want to encourage that as white to just come off. That's interesting. Don't want to allow here though. Okay, sets up a X-ray attack and just takes. Okay, now there's no longer that threat because it's not so subtle anymore. The rook is protected and pinned, but you can come here, pin the king, but then the rook's gonna come to b8 and you have a red carpet if they can remove this knight. Just rook to g7, keeping the rook. I would have thought king g5 there. Because rook 5 b7 now comes with an initiative. Maybe you trade the rooks? Maybe just king f5, and then you're eventually gonna unpin this rook. I don't think you want to move the knight because it's guarding an important square. Yeah, unless that happens, but then the king can come here and unpin the rook. And your rook's free, but now it's stuck. I don't think there was a better move though. Maybe actually here, afterwards, just hitting the rook. Allowing the advance, because if you take, if the king just continued to advance up the board, this is covered, so you just have to come here. And then this would be guarded for now, and then you have 2 rooks, well, a rook and a queen, and the bishop against a queen. But knight g5 played instead of the knight c5 option. Rook is shifted over, sacrificing the rook for a trade here, and then white would be slightly better. But yeah, pinned. Are you just gonna trade? And then come here since pin, or yeah, here. And it's over. White wins, and CyberShredder completely sweeps r2300, and it's 6-0. Definitely not the expected result. I will take a look at their first 2 games just to see how it was. King g3 and the Avi with the white pieces in the first game, knight c3 line. Same line, and then yeah, CyberShredder blunders a rook again, and he just does not know how to play this opening, but Avi once again finding ways to make mistakes in the mid game, and yeah, the minor pieces just dominate. CyberShredder not exactly making poor moves, but just not really aggressive moves. Nothing really to say here because it's what we already witnessed in other games. I don't know if there's anything here worth going over. Rook h2 line. So they played this line before, the same line that they finished in game 6. And this is where he played the bishop takes d4 instead of knight c5 line. Yeah, and then just allows a mate in 8. This is where we came in. Well, at least I started watching this series was this position, and yeah, there's nothing you can do at that point. But yeah, bishop h3 is odd because it doesn't allow this. What is the move here? I mean, it says it right there on the side. Is rook h g2. But I wonder if there's any other ideas. Obviously this was to unpin the knight, but maybe even rook h5 works. I assume the rook would take there then. Well, actually the queen would be hanging then, so yeah, this rook needed to hit this knight, so yeah, this one coming here would have been better. But yeah, nothing really worth mentioning. CyberShredder had awkward openings. I don't think that they were necessarily blunders or anything. For the most part, there were a couple opening blunders where he just completely gave up a piece. But just choosing the less best option and allowing Avi to get a good advantage in opening, but it just wasn't the style of play that Avi is used to. So I think Avi's prep was actually counterintuitive for him. But good matches that we've seen so far nonetheless. CyberShredder, as expected, will join Royal Maniac and Queen Hanging Dragon in the final four, the round robin. I make many mistakes recently, lost to Natso, so the reigning champion will not actually return. Um, so we will see Natso and Huang Yidang at some point. Hopefully I can stream that one too.